Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Lexa Peterson, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Captain Nick Tate. We warmly welcome the family of Flight Sergeant Ian Fairlie MacGugan, whose story will be told shortly. We also warmly welcome Mr. Brock Bryce, representing the Air Force Association. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family, visitors to the memorial, and students on behalf of LaSalle Academy from Lithgow, New South Wales, and Bunbury Cathedral Grammar School from Jellerup, Western Australia. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem. If able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament. Flowers of the forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Flight Sergeant Ian Fairlie MacGugan. Ian MacGugan was born on the 17th of April 1915 in Branxholme, Victoria, the eldest of 3 children born to farmer Donald MacGugan and his wife Helen. Ian attended the local public school and then high school at the nearby town of Hamilton, where he was a keen sportsman and student. He completed a short engineering course at the Ballarat School of Mines before studying at the Melbourne Teachers College. After graduating, he began teaching at Castleton High School while studying a Bachelor of Arts at Melbourne University. When the Second World War broke out, Ian MacGugan enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force. He began infantry training in January 1942, but was discharged soon after to commence training as aircrew. MacGugan joined the Royal Australian Air Force on the 29th of January 1943. After initial training in Australia, he embarked for Canada, arriving in Edmonton, Alberta by the end of June. He began air observer and navigation training, qualifying in December 1943. Later that month, MacGugan embarked for the United Kingdom as part of the Empire training scheme. He was one of almost 27,500 RAAF pilots, navigators, wireless operators, air gunners and flight engineers who, throughout the course of the war, joined the Royal Air Force squadrons or Australian squadrons based in Britain. MacGugan arrived in England in early January 1944 and undertook further operational training. In August, he joined No. 622 Squadron, RAF, based at Mildenhall. The squadron was part of Bomber Command and was equipped with Stirling and Lancaster bombers, which they flew in raids over the enemy territory in Europe. On the 12th of September 1944, MacGugan was the navigator in a 7-man crew detailed to undertake a night bombing raid over Frankfurt. The attack was largely successful, causing serious destruction to industrial parts of the city, with fires in some areas burning for 3 days. When the raid was complete, MacGugan's aircraft failed to return to base. Much to the growing anxiety of his family, no news of the crew could be obtained, and they were listed as missing in action. No. 622 Squadron's commanding officer wrote to MacGugan's father, "Your son was the navigator of an aircraft engaged on an important bombing mission over enemy territory, and after takeoff, nothing further was heard. It is possible that the aircraft was forced down, and if this is the case, then there may be some chance that he may be safe and a prisoner of war. In this event, it may be 2 or 3 months before any certain information is obtained through the International Red Cross. But you may rest assured that you will be immediately notified should anything come through." Your son had been with the squadron only a short while, but during this time had successfully completed 2 operational flights. He was admired by all who knew him and will be very much missed by his many friends in the squadron. Despite hopes that MacGugan may have been a prisoner of war, neither he nor his comrades were ever heard from again. German documents obtained in 1946 revealed that MacGugan and his comrades had been shot down over the town of Wilgartzen, about 115 kilometres southwest of Frankfurt. Their bodies were later exhumed from the local churchyard and reburied at the Rheinberg British Military Cemetery in Germany. Today, MacGugan's remains lie there, beneath the inscription chosen by his family. "His duty fearlessly and nobly done, ever remembered." Ian MacGugan was 29 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Flight Sergeant Ian Fairlie MacGugan, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozieres or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over, but in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.